I am Alcander, a ruthless alpha once cold-hearted, until Jenna crossed my path, my destiny, my light. But as our world is threatened by ghosts of the past, love and loyalty will be tested, amidst power struggles, betrayal, and supernatural forces. Our story is just beginning. Chapter 49. I asked that next day when I came back from Wilson and Angelia's house. Alcander, what was he doing with the pups of his pack? This is what he said. I'm trying to change. Change for the better of us and our incoming pup. I'm practicing with my own pack pups, so when our comes, I'll be ready, and I won't be like my father. He got something nice that day. Everyone knows now. Helmer has the biggest mouth ever. He practically yelled it out when he went to talk to Alcander about it. But I made him run laps around the new borderlines, and this one all night. No breaks. When I went go check the next morning, he collapsed and Wilson had to help him get back home. He didn't go to training that day, or the one after. It feels good to be in control. I'm on my last month of being pregnant and I can't wait to get it over with. Vivian S. asked if we wanted to know the gender, but I told him I wanted to know when I deliver. So we still don't know. Janet says it's going to be twins. I rolled my eyes because I'm not that big for twins. When I told her, Will showed her. She screamed so loud. See, Alex thought she was getting hurt, so he came in ready to fight. He thought I hurt her and growled at me. But she then told him what happened, and then the Alex turned happy. Yeah, their relationship is one in a kind. I visit Wilson every day since he says he's lonely. I rolled my eyes at him and told him let's go see the other side of the territory. I told Alcander that I was going to check it out. He said to take someone with me since he was doing something to the house. Have you been there? Wilson said while he walked slow with me while we walked towards the other pack house I had some warriors built. No, I could barely walk around this grounds, but I'm challenging myself to make it there. My hands rubbed my stomach while I felt it kick. I smiled and I couldn't be happier. Me and Alcander are being the mates we both always dreamed of. And I'm glad. No, I'm happy. I'm so happy that we are being mates. Oh, should I grow fruit trees there? I look over to him and see him holding an apple in hand. I narrow my eyes but over and grab it. Why, so I can eat more fruit when I get there. I growl at him while I take a bite out of it. No, the only trees we have are oak or pine. We need some fruits. We can't depend on deer meat or rabbits. He smiles down at me and raises an eyebrow. I groan and then roll my eyes. Wilson, why do you always have to have explanation to everything you say? I continue to eat the apple while my other hand holds under my stomach. Because it gives you a reason to think about and then you can decide if you want to do it. We walk through some trees and Wilson helps me by lifting the ground when we come across a broken tree. I reach out and a branch comes out of a nearby tree as I grab it when I feel like I'm going to fall. I'm panting and I'm grunting and I tell him I'm going to stop for a little bit. It's right there. He points and I start to see the new pack house. I look up at him, glaring. You're not the one carrying the alpha's child, are you? I growled and he looks down, crunching some dry leaves. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilbert, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I take a deep breath and unstraighten my back and exhale. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilbert, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I'm good. We start to walk towards the house and I feel my heart pick up because I don't have Alcander with me. He's the alpha. They know him. I haven't even met these wolves. On second thought, let's go back. I was about to turn around but he gripped my arm. Come on, Jenna. We walked like for an hour and you want to walk back another one. They would have water and food. I'm thirsty. I don't know about you but I'd like some ice cold water. I groan and then continue to walk towards it. Fine. Just for the water, that's why. We made our way towards the opening and some wolves stare at us, but once they realize that I'm the Luna they quickly bow. I blush and continue to walk towards the pack house. His hand clamps around my forearm and I look up to him. He looks around with big eyes and his hand tightens. What? He looks around like he's scared but anxious at the same time. She's here. She's here. he says, and I grew confused. What are you talking about? He looks down at me and his sea-green eyes stare down at me. My mate is here. I need to find her. He growls and whimpers at the same time. My eyes grow big and my lips form into a smile. Are you serious? To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He grabs my hand and starts to pull me to his mate. Wait. I can't. Run, I said, panting. His hand tightens even more, while my heart started to pump faster. He looks down at me with some kind of emotion, but I was only trying to get my breathing back. He almost whimpered, but he started to walk towards her now. I was still trying to get the burning feeling down from my lungs and slow down my heart. Where do you think she's at? I asked with short breath. I sucked in a harsh breath and then slowly exhaled. Somewhere close. Her scent is getting stronger. He looks down at me with a smile. I found her. His eyes held happiness and I couldn't help but copy him. His walk started to speed up, but it was more like a power walk. My feet throb while I feel kicks. She's here. He whispers more to himself while he stops. I look away from him and look in front of us and see a girl looking around with wide eyes. Light brown hair, tall and curvy, and beautiful chocolate eyes. I look back to Wilson and see him smiling like crazy. I let go of his hand and push him towards him. Go to your mate. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He looks down at me with a smile, and then his face turns pale. What if she rejects me? He looks back at her and the worry goes away, but when he looks back at me it comes back. I roll my eyes and give him another push. Wilson. I highly doubt that. Look. We both look at her while one hand goes through her hair and grips the roots. She's worried. She's trying to find you to calm herself down. She hasn't even seen you, and all you are doing is playing games with her right now. So, go show her that she is smelling you, right? It's not her wolf playing tricks on her. So go. I look back at him and he sighs. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. But if she's Ray, she won't. But if it does, many trees will come to hide myself and you will never find because I'll be hiding in there. Wilson, quit putting negative things in your mind. Go fine. He straightens his shoulders and walks towards her. I watch with a smile and watch her. She still looks around and was about to walk towards another side of the pack grounds, but I think Wilson spoke. Her head snapped towards him, and I see the worry vanish and happiness covered her face. I can only imagine Wilson's right now. My heart warms up from seeing him find his mate. She runs towards him and jumps on him. He's taken by surprise, but she wrapped her legs around him and gripped his face. His hand shoots up and holds her there but stares at her eyes. She leans down and my smiles grows more. She kisses him and I wish I can see his eyes. I bet they're huge right now, while he's trying to process everything right now. I chuckle when she pulls away, but he leans back in. I start to walk towards them while he sets her down. I made it towards them, and that's when Wilson turned around and jumped when he saw me so close. Una. Her voice is shocked, but she quickly bows her head. She then looks up at me with a smile. Her voice is soft and sweet, and I know Wilson is going to be in trouble. He can't say no to her even if he wanted to. Jenna. My mate Colin. He smiles at her while she blushes and still looks at me. Pleasure to meet you. I smile at her while she does the same. The pleasure is mine. She smiles while she gets close to Wilson and leans on him. He smiles down at her while I can't help but smile at them, but my eyes grow wide. Una. I look down and that's when I felt something wet go down my legs. It's starting to turn fall since summer ended like 2 weeks ago. So I'm in leggings and you can see the wet spot bleed through my leggings. It grows bigger and I'm out of breath. I look up and they both stare at my legs with wide eyes. Wilson. I try not to freak out. Get me back home. I'm in labor. He opens his mouth and tried to say something, but his mouth moves with no words coming out. Wilson. I yell while my hands start to shake. He nods crazy and he takes a step towards me, but then one back because he doesn't know what to do. I whimper, but I mind link Alcander. Alcander. You have care. I'm in labor and you're not here. My eyes tear up while I feel all eyes at me. I turn around and start to walk towards Vivaness. What? I'm in labor. What? Alcander? Where are you? I'm in the other territory. I'm scared, Alcander. Don't move. I'm coming. Well, hurry the FCK up before I pop your child out when you get here. This is no time to make jokes. Alcander. I trying to get mine to think about something else than think, and I'm in labor and away from a doctor. Don't worry. I'm almost there. Please hurry. Oh, please do hurry. I don't think I'll make it. Chapter 50. Jen. I growled and hunched over when pain shot through me. I felt a hand on me, but I snapped and almost attacked whoever it was. I looked over my shoulder while showing them my fangs. Whoa. Jenna, leave me alone. I growled and held my stomach protectively. Let me help you, Wilson said, but I swiped at his hand, but he pulled back just in time before my claws could hook on skin. I wobbled towards the opening and whimpered when another pain shot through my stomach and to the rest of my lower body. I growled again and I can feel tears wanting to fall. Can you hurry the FCK up, Alcander? I'm right here. Once he said that, I saw his grey wolf coming through the woods. He was sprinting so fast that not even into seconds he was standing in front of me shifting. He was breathing hard, but I didn't take that as a surprise. Once he shifted, I threw myself on him and cried on his shoulder. I whimpered. I pulled away from him and slapped him. All because of you, I'm like this. I growled at him, but my anger turned to sad. I started to cry again. One of his arms went under my legs while the other held my back. Alcander? Do you need? Wilson was trying to say, but Alcander ignored him and started to sprint with me in his arms. My eyes were closed right while my hands wrapped around his shoulder and neck tight. When other pain came, I growled, and then whimpered while my hands tightened. He panted while he would gasp for air. His sprint never slowed down, even though he wanted to. He didn't let himself. I'm glad, because if not, I might as well kill him and deliver our pup by myself. Yeah, perks of being pregnant. I opened my eyes just for a second, but snapped them closed when another pain shot through me. I clenched on his shoulder and cried on it, but I saw the opening to the pack. I even saw a glimpse of the pack house. I whimpered while I cried. Al almost there, he said while his parts passed my ear. I only nodded while my hands tightened around his shoulder as I bit my lip from screaming when an intense pain shot through me. I heard him kick open a door while he still sprinted. I heard gasp, but that's when another door got kicked open. Vivaness. He yelled while I felt myself get placed on the bed. I open my eyes and see his chest moving up and down way too fast. His hand holds the wall to support himself, but he tries to walk. Alcander. Sit down. Just mind Lincoln. I growled while I held the bed sheets in my hand while my back arched up. Oh yeah. I look towards him and he smiles weakly at me and starts to walk towards the side of the bed, but he falls down and passes out. Alcander. I sit up, but I lay back down when I felt another come my way. I growl while I clench my teeth. Vivaness. I look up and see some nurses there staring at me. What are you doing? Call Dr. Vivaness. I'm going to deliver this child while you just stare. They quickly rush out, and some do look through other rooms. Get out. I screamed when I saw some wounded wolves staring at me. They quickly hold their wounds and hurry out. I scream when an intense pain shot through me. Alcander. I screamed as I grabbed the pillow and rolled to my side. I bit my lip and started to hit him with the pillow. Get up. I'm not going. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Alone. I smacked hard, then stopped when another pain shot through. I screamed, and that's when the door opened with a bang. I'm so sorry, Luna. I don't care. I growled while he rushes towards me with two nurses. Get Alcander up. I'm not doing it without him. He nods and tells one nurse something as he runs away, then comes back with a cup of water. He dumps it on as he gasps. He stands up and leans on the bed. You're pregnant, he says while his mind is still trying to catch up. No, but I cried out when my lower part of my body cramped up and pain flowed through it. His hand rubbed the back of my mine, but I grabbed it and gripped it so hard that I'm afraid I broke it. He did a small growl, but when I looked towards him, he stopped and gave me a smile. Did her out of me. I growled at him while I held his hand tighter. His smile tightened, but with pain. Get him, Alcander. I throw my head back while pain keeps coming. My eyes cloud with tears. I start to cry. Viviness. He grows at him. To my agent extraordinaire, mythical. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I need to take her pants off and her no. Alcander. I'm going to kill you. I growl at him. To my agent extraordinaire, mythical. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. It will take her out of pain. I just need to do it so we can deliver your pup. He growls, but I see him nodding. I feel my pants come off with my shoes. And then when my underwear was about to come off, Alcander gave a warning growl. Alcander, can you shut the FCK up for once? My hold tightens on his hand while he gives another growl. I look towards Viviness. Just do it. He nods and then takes the off. My legs get raised and get placed on some holders. I don't know because I closed my eyes. Okay, Jenna. You're already dilated to 10 cm. I need you to give a strong push. And I do. I push so hard that my hand tightens around Alcander, so tight that I heard a snap. He growls while he pulls his hand away. My eyes are closed, but I heard a snap again and his hand comes back to mine. He popped his bone back, but that doesn't stop me from doing it again. Push. Breathe, he says while I scream out. Another one, Luna. I push while pain shot through me and I cry out. I growl when I do this one as my hand unwraps from my Alcander's hand and goes onto his forearm. My claws came out and he hisses when they go into his skin. Another Luna. I cry out when I push again. The head is out. Push for its shoulders to come out. I push out while I growl. Alcander tries to say stuff in my ear, but I snap at him. His other hand pushes my hair out of my face while my face drips down sweat. One more Luna. One big push. And I do. I push so hard I grow limp when I heard a cry. I look over to Alcander and see him looking at me with so much happiness. He leans down and gives me a peck. I smile weakly while my hand goes around his neck and holds him there. Our foreheads rest on each other while I stare at his hazel eyes. You're dead, I say while I give him a smile. I know. He kissed me again and pulls back when we hear cries fill the room. I look towards Viviness and see holding scissors to Alcander. The owner Alpha. Alcander grabs them and walks towards the cords and Viviness tells him where to cut it at. And once he does, he looks at me with the happiest smile I ever saw. What the gender? I say while I look over to Viviness while he cleans our pup. He looks up to me with a smile and says, Congratulations, Alpha. And Luna, it's a chapter 51. Jenna, what? He hands me our pup while I stare at Alcander and then back to Viviness. Exactly what I said. He says while he smiles at me and then gives Alcander a side hug. But then his eyes grew wide. He grabs my pup while I growl at him, but I let him. He hands our pup to Alcander and he taps my leg. You're not done delivering. You need to deliver the placenta, he says while he lifts my legs back up as I look at him weird. To my agent extraordinaire, mythical. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I look over to Alcander and see him not even paying attention to me. He paying attention to our pup. He smiles so big where he runs his finger gently over our pup's cheek. You need to deliver the place. What the hell is that? The sack that your pup was in. Now, I need you to push. I whimper at the thought, but I had to do it. So I did. I pushed while I growled as I gripped the bed sheets. Finally, after 5 more pushes, that Efkin's sack came out and Viviness cleaned me up. I looked over to where Alcander wears, but I can see him at the end of the room talking to our pup. Alcander. His head snaps towards me with a smile. Gives me my pup. His smile grows where he walks fast towards me. He gently hands me over him on my chest. I told you it was going to be a boy. He whispers in my ear then, gives my cheek a peck. I smile as I stare at him on my chest. My eyes well with tears. Happy ones. I look up to Alcander as they fall out. His smile grew bigger while his hand comes up and wipes my tears away. He leans down and pecks my lips, then rests his forehead on mine. Thank you. I lean into him, but then our pup stirs on my chest. I look towards him and I have to bite my lip from letting the sob come out. What's going to be his name? I stare at him and trace my finger over his soft cheeks and then go to the OCK of dark brown hair. Valdas. Valdas. I look up to him and see him staring at me confused. Yes, Alcander. Valdas. That's his name. Why can't it be Junior? Alcander Jr. He smiles at me while I have a blank face. No, fine. Good. I look back down to him and smile at him. Why does he have to look like you? Not me. I hold back the growl but smile when he cuddles up against me. Duh, because he's part of me. I made him. I hear the cockiness in his voice and I clench my jaw. I'm the one that pushed him out. I snap at him. He kisses my temple as I growl at him. I know. And I'm thankful for you doing that. And for carrying him. I didn't say anything because I got slapped with being tired. My eyes started to droop while my shoulder followed after. I turned my head with a yawn. I feel Valdas get lifted off my chest. I'll watch him while you sleep. His hand pushes my hair away from my face while I close my eyes. You need to rest, Jenna. You'll be sore for a while and you need a lot of rest. I'll take care of you both. Good night. I only nodded and fell into the trap of darkness. This whole month been crazy after I delivered Valdas. He's been crying so much when I held him. But when I would feed him, that's a different story. He wants he held by Alcander. See Alcander. Smell Alcander. Everything has to be with Alcander. Nothing with me. Nothing. Today we are going to show the pack their next alpha in line. I dressed in some nice dress pants and a long sleeve. Since winter is almost here, I got Valdas's clothes to be warm. But Alcander took charge when I tried because he started to scream with me. But hey, I don't complain when Alcander is the one that has to change his diapers. Stubborn just like his father. I walked downstairs while I pulled my hair in a high ponytail. Alcander, I need your help. Now he yells. I can't help but laugh. I hurry down the stairs and I hear him breathing hard. I walk over to the kitchen and all I see is his back. He's dressed in a white dress shirt and I don't see Valdas. Alcander. He turns around with wide eyes and I choke on my spit. He breathes out. Help me. What happened to your face? I rush over to him and grab a hand towel off the counter and wipe his face that is covered with baby powder. I was changing him. And I don't know. He's evil. He pulls me in front of him and I'm met with a smiling Valdas holding baby powder without clothes. I smile at him while he smiles at me. I look over my shoulder and see Alcander glaring at him. He loves you more. And you're fine. It's just powder. Change him and let's go. I thought you don't like being late. I taunt but then he looks at me with that same glare. I don't. And fine. He moves me over while I grab the powder from his tiny hands. I walk away while I hear them both laugh. I can't help but smile at both of them laughing together. It pulls at my chest and makes me feel warm inside. Vivian S. would check up at the end of every week and say that Valdas grows a bit faster than normal wolf since he has alpha blood. Valdas is everything of Alcander. Everything. He has his eyes. His skin color. It's like I'm not even his mother. I sigh but when I go back to them I see them both ready. Are you both ready now? I place my hands on my hips while I cock my head to the side. They both smile at me. He picks him up and walks over to me. He leans down and pecks my lips. Let go show our pack their next alpha in line. Chapter 50 to Jenna. Are you afraid? I asked while my hands clamped around his and my other on his arm. Our feet crushed dried leaves while the wind blew ice-cold air. I mean, are you nervous? Why would I be? It's our pup. Their next alpha. Why should I be nervous? Nervous they won't accept him. I look up to him and see him looking ahead while he holds Valdas closer to his side here. He looks down at me. If my pack is ever sick and thinking about their new alpha. Our child. Why should they even be in a pack? I stare into his eyes and he sighs. He looks away and stares straight, walking us down to the podium. Why would any of pack members be nervous about our pup? I gave them my life to protect them. I may be called ruthless, heartless, and the most feared, but I would always protect my pack and my family. No second thought about that. To my agent extraordinaire, mythical, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He stares down at me and gives me small smile. I give him one back and stand on my toes and peck the side of his mouth. It was just a question. I leaned on him while I saw the podium ahead with both sides of the territory sitting or some standing. It was just an answer. When they heard us, they all snapped their head towards us and quickly stood. The warriors on the side of the podium kneeled down with their head bowed, while the rest of the pack bowed their head. I saw Helmer and see him smiling up at me, and looked over to Alcander and Voldas. His smile grew and he stood, but the rest of warrior remained kneeling. To my agent extraordinaire, mythical, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Lunia, he said while gave a quick bow. Helmer. I give him a hug and pull back. Where's Anjaya? His smiles grows and he looks to the right of me. I see her in the front looking up with her beautiful eyes. I give her a small nod and she gives one back. I look to the left of her and see Wilson. I smile at him and he smiles and shows his teeth while I see his eyes tear at the Voldas. I roll my eyes and that's when Alcander walks up the steps. Janet is there and she's jumping on her toes. The Alex is there and moving with Janet because her arm is linked with his. His smile never goes away while his reaches her ears. I walk over to her and give her a hug and she almost screamed in my ear but she quickly slammed her mouth shut. I shake my head and give a low chuckle and then walk over the Alex and give a hug. Congratulations, Luna. He whispers in my ear. That makes my smile grow big as I pull away. Thank you, Alex. He nods at me and pulls back Janet. You all may be seated. Alcander says and I look over to the crowd and see them quick seat but some stand since there's not enough seats. Alcander hands me over Voldas and I'm thankful he doesn't make a fit. He starts to play with my hair and squeal in my ear. I'd like to thank you all for coming to have a look at your next alpha. And thank you for not coming and asking for our pup since you heard that your Luna has delivered him. And I'm sorry that I haven't been there for the last mouth to training or to check around the boundaries. If you have a pup, you understand. Some wolf chuckle at that comment while Alcander joins in. To my agent extraordinaire, mythical, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. We came here to celebrate your next alpha into this pack. He looks over to me and calls me over. I walk towards him and smile at the crowd. I hand him over to Alcander and I receive a little peck on my cheek. This is our pup, Voldas, Alpha Voldas. His voice is strong and proud. Everyone looks at Voldas and they all stare at him with awe and I can't help but look at both of my boys the same. At age 18, he would receive the title of this pack. He would carry on our legacy and continue to be the most powerful alpha out there. Throughout his years of being a pup and then go into his teenage stage. I expect you all not to favorite him. Let him earn your respect. Just because he's your next alpha, that doesn't mean to favorite him in anything. He should earn every title. An alpha should earn every title and not be given it. And with us, he looked towards me and he smiles. At age 18 he would be given the title of alpha, because he earned it. He earned this pack. They all clap and yell at the end of his speech. I lean against him and my smile never leaves my face. He turns towards me but I was the first one to bring him down and lips on his. I smiled into the kiss and wrap my arms around his neck. I laugh when I feel Voldas pull on my hair and then my ear. He laughs when he pulls me away from Alcander. To my agent extraordinaire, mythical, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Alcander mumbles into his side of his head which makes him giggle. I can't help but chuckle. Alcander laughs but I wrap myself around his broad chest and move with his laugh. We step down while Alcander introduces Voldas to everyone. I walk over to Helmer and Angelia and purposely bumped my shoulder into Helmer. He growled and turned around and was about to yell but once he saw it was me his shoulders sagged and his arms went around me and gave me a hug. Hey to you to Helmer. I laugh as he pulls away. I go to hug Angelia but I'm pulled away and my face gets pushed into a chest. I roll my eyes and give him a hug back. Hey Wilson. How do you know it's me? He pulls away while he wraps the arm around his mate. You're the only person I know who smells like strawberries. His eyes grow wide. I do. He looks down to his mate. I smell like strawberries. She nods while she laughs. I smell like strawberries. He yells while we laugh. I go to hug his mate and she congratulates me as I say thank you. I hug Angelia, and she whispers in my ear. I might be too. I'm not sure. But don't tell Helmer. My eyes grow wide and she stares at me hard. I nod my head and she smiles. Congratulations, Jenna. I'll talk to you guys later. I have to find my son and my mate. I wink at Angelia as she sends a glare to me. I wave them goodbye and walk past groups which they all congratulate me. I finally found both of them with the Ericsons holding him while crying. I roll my eyes and wrap my arms around him. Hey, he says hey. He pulls me in front of him while he rests his chin on the top of my head. My back is against his chest as I watch Janet cry while she plays with his hair. I shake my head and lick my lips. So what now? To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I look up to him and see him staring down at me. I give him a smile and look back to Voldas. Watch our pup grow. Chapter 53 Jenna and Alcander. I growled while I pushed open the door. What? He growls while he looked down at the papers on his desk and then back to another stack and wrote on it. Where's Voldas? His head snapped up and I saw his jaw clenched. Right. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He pointed to the corner of the room and I see Voldas playing with toys. Look, I have a lot of work to catch up. Please, just can you take him and let me finish this? I look back to him while he rests his head on the papers. Being an alpha is harder than you think. He mumbles. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I'll be back to check on you. He nods and sighs. I walk over to Voldas and picked him up. He finally learned how to crawl and I'm so thankful for that, but at the same time, he's growing way too fast. It's been 6 months since the ceremony, so he's 7 months. My heart hurts from time passing so fast. We walk out of the room and walked towards mine and us.丨The's room. Let's take you a shower. I walked over to the bathroom and turned on the light. I closed the door and gently set Voldas down. I kneeled down and turned on the water. Once it starts to turn warm, I clogged the drain and waited for the tub to fill. I crawled over to Voldas and started to take off his clothes. Once he's but without clothes, he laughs and smiles at me. His teeth started to come in and he has tiny fangs. I smile at him and turn off the water and gently place him in. He laughs when he's in the tub and starts to splash the water around. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Let's wash your crazy hair. He sits up by himself and I reach over to his shampoo and conditioner. I place a blob on my hand and start to rub his hair. I make it into a mohawk and he giggles. I love you so much. I whisper to him and kiss his forehead. Let's see if you have something in common with Mama than your dad. You may have his looks, but let's see if you have my personality. I smile at him because he looks at me and laughs and then splash water around. I put Voldas to sleep and I was already in bed when I heard the door open. I looked over my shoulder and see Alcander dragging his feet and shoulders sagging. What's wrong? I asked, while I sit up. He shakes his head and takes off his shoes. He unbuttons his shirt and pulls it off, showing me his chest. He then unbuttons his pants and they fall down to his ankles. He has his eyes closed while he walks out of his pants and walks towards the edge of the bed. He groans and lands on top of me. I groan with him but I wrap arms around him and start to play with his hair. What's wrong? Everything. Everyone. He mumbles against my neck. Why? I run my hand through his hair while my other hand rubs his back. My wolves contacted me or sometimes the Alex and say that there's trouble between the new wolves. So I went to take care of it, and then Helma comes to me and says that they already caught some rogues but some escaped. I'm just tired. Alpha duties, which Aluna should help her alpha with. I roll my eyes but don't say anything. How's Vuldas? I took him a shower today. Threw the shampoo bottle at me. I laughed. He chuckled against my neck, which makes me squirm. Like his dad. No, his personality is going to be like me. Not you. He has everything of you. I want something from me in him. Like a crazy wolf. Hey to you too. I blocked her out and listened to Alcander. I'm not going to raise him like my father did to me. He'll be raised right. I smile and kiss his head. You'll do fine. I have a feeling you will. He looks up at me and smiles. He'll be tough, but he won't think women are low. I changed my mind. I don't want my own son to grow up changing at the end. And I'm glad you don't think that anymore. And thank you for putting women as warriors. If their Luna is strong, why not make everyone strong? Let's hope he will. I smile and kiss him. He smiles into the kiss, and that night, let's just say, I got attacked by a hungry alpha. I walked down the streets towards the pack house and walked towards Janet. Thank you, Jenna. Thank you so much. She jumps up and down and I can't help but laugh. Look, Janet, I'm just letting you take care of him for some hours. I need to go check up and everything. I'll be back and I trust you'll take good care of him. She nods crazily and I can't help but laugh. I hand it a Voldas and give a kiss goodbye. I'll see you soon. I'll be in your heart always and you'll be in mine and my mind always. I say while I pinch his cheek, which makes him laugh. I waved him goodbye and walk out. I walk towards opening to both territories. Helmer and the rest of the warriors cut down trees to make a path for both lands, and now it's just a straight 15-minute run. I go behind a tree and Wes. I shift and he picked up my clothes and took off to the other land. I finally made it and quickly shifted and placed on my clothes. I walked around and even visited the new pack house. I checked on everyone and an hour passed. I said my goodbyes and rest myself and took off to the mainland. I have another feeling. Someone is coming. I kinda slowed down but I continued back to my normal speed. What do you mean? Please don't let it be another person we meet. No. It's not like that. Someone is coming. Or should I say some are coming. What do you mean? I don't know. I just feel it, Jenna. Okay. Well, thanks for the heads up then. She didn't answer me and I grew even more confused. I tried to talk to her, but now she went back to not talking to me. I shifted back and placed on my clothes. I went to the training field, but that's when I froze. Everyone did too. Even Alcander, who was in the middle of lesson with the pups. My heart dropped and my muscles tensed. Thanks for the warning, Audrey, but I didn't think it will be that fast. I looked over to the opening of the woods and see 3 of our warriors dead from our border patrol, and my breathing got caught by who was leading them. The men who came with them threw the dead lifeless wolf bodies in front of them while the rest of the men behind them smiled. I came back for my mate. He said Wadia and stood next to him with a glare. Why now? Chapter 54. Genji Dakota. Leave. Everyone stood quiet. Everyone stared at them. Alcander. Tell the pups to leave. I don't want them to watch this. I looked over to him and his back is towards me, but I see him look over his shoulder till he looks at me. Let's show them that what happens when another pack threatens me. His face is in a scowl, but I narrow my eyes at him. Stop. Nothing is going to happen. Leave my land, I said while I looked at him in the eyes. He smiled and took a step forward. Helmer and all the warriors growled and stood in front of me and Alcander. What? No, Jenna, come on. Let's take you home. He took another step closer while his smile kept growing. I'm sorry that I took so long. You're trespassing my lands. Get out, or we will start something and I'll finish it this time. Alcander growled while he stepped in front of Helmer and took a step toward Dakota. I looked behind me and I already saw the pups run into the pack house. Thank the moon goddess. I'm not leaving without my matches, not your mate. Alcander yelled. I rushed over to him and placed my hand on his back. He was breathing hard, but he didn't spare me a glance. Dakota, leave. It's been, what? To my agent extraordinaire, mythical, heartfelt thanks for your unfading patience, enthusiasm. Leave now. I'm staying. He growled at my response. What? What did he do? Rape you? Brainwashed you? Marked you? He's a monster and you know it. He yelled while he took another step closer. One more step, and your head would be on the grass. Alcander growled. Dakota, leave. I made Elsie Anders' mate. Deal with it. I have a pup. I marked him. He marked me. We're one. Now it's your time to find your own mate. I went closer to Alcander and when I saw Dakota breathing hard. He's more built. His facial expression changed. His face looks dark. Like a sinister look. He doesn't take care of his hair. He's not the alpha son. He's the alpha you. Mated with him. He's my mate Dakota. Leave. I'm not leaving Jenna. You're mine. After that he shifted and Alcander quickly shifted to an attack Dakota. Helmer and the warriors all shifted and took the men that Dakota brought. I did too. I shifted and went to attack my old pack. Who is he? He's used to be my crush from my old pack before Alcander came Helmer. I went for the back legs. And then when they would turn to snap at me, I would attack their neck. I took down a few, but mostly the warriors would get in front of me and take any wolf who tried to get near me. I looked over to Alcander and see Ian and Dakota fighting him. I ran towards him and rammed my shoulder into Ian's side. He fell to the side, and that's when I slashed his side. He growled and went to stand up, but I got pushed down. I fell to my side and I went to snap at their paw. Whoever it was, but they slammed their paw on my snout and stopped me from doing so. I thrashed my head around and was about to roll to the side, but their other paw went on my side and jumped on me with their full weight. My air got knocked out, so I laid him and tried to get air, but I couldn't. Audrey was freaking out because we never got our air knocked out in wolf form, so I shifted. They stepped off of me while I shifted back and coughed. I gasped for air and coughed again. I finally got my breathing back. I stood up, but I got pushed back. I lost my footing and fell backwards. I growled at whoever did and I finally found out it was Dakota. His chest was bleeding. I looked past him and see Alcander staring at him with a busted lip while he stared at Dakota, then to me with a blank face. Get up. Slowly. And leave. I don't want you hurt Jenna. I can't just leave you here, Alcander. I'd have my warriors and I have the Alex. He's helping Helmer right now. Leave Jenna. Please. I looked towards Dakota and I see him yelling at Alcander. I don't even know when they shifted. But I guess they did because they were yelling at each other without clothes. I went to stand up, but that's when I got pulled up and I growled. I pulled out my claws and went to claw whoever grabbed me, but they wrapped their arms around mine and trapped my arms. I growled and thrashed around. Let me go. I looked behind me and see it's Ian holding me, Ian. Let me go. I can't. I'm not the alpha. He is. And his orders to take you home. I'm not his mate. I looked up when I heard Alcander growl and saw him staring at Ian. You all do want to die today, don't you? He growled while he tried to take a step towards us, but Dakota stepped in his view. He stopped and went to punch him, but Dakota took a step back and I was pushed towards him. He went behind me, and that's when one arm held me tight against him while his other hand had his claws on my throat. I gasped while I stared at Alcander with wide eyes. In the corner of my eyes, I see everyone either dead or stopped what they were doing. Mostly it was our pack that was standing and staring at us, while Dakota's pack was on the ground dead or either bleeding. Alcander don't. Jenna was alarmed. Her face showed fear and I couldn't help but feel the same. This is first time I felt fear. Dakota, please, she said, but he cut her off by choking her more with his hand. You're supposed to be mated with me, Jenna. He growled while he pushed his claws deeper in her throat. But then he comes along and ruins everything. You were going to be my Luna, my mate. But no. He marks you, and makes you carry his pup. I gave a warning growl while I take a cautious step forward. Don't. His claws go deeper, which makes a cough and I see blood start to tail down. My heart pounds hard against my chest. No, you don't need to do that. Hurt me. Hurt me. Not my mate. Please. I'm begging now. I can't lose her. I can't. Tears fall down her face and I'm so scared. I try to take another step towards them, but he pushes deeper in her throat. She coughs harder while her hands go up to his. Dakota. Please, she coughed out. Shut up, Jenna. His eyes are bright while his fangs came out. I loved you and you did this. You marked him and delivered his pup. You were mine. To my agent extraordinaire, mythical, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He growled while he stared at me. I felt my fangs come out, and my claws already descending. My heart pounds against my chest while I looked back to Jenna. Her hand was around his wrist trying to peel away his hand, but it stayed there. She looked at me and gave me a small smile with tears along down her face. Take care of him. Take care of us Alcander. I love you, she said, and that's when I can hear my heart pound in my ears. I shook my head while tears fell down my face. Don't say that. Don't say that, Jenna. I took another step closer and he growled. If I can't have her, you can't. She looked at me and gave me a small smile and mouthed, love you. No. I rushed over there, but his wrist pushed his claws deeper and pulled to the side, making a slit in her throat, spitting out blood. I shifted in midair and he tried to run, but my claws went to the side of him and turned him towards me. I snapped my jaw on his stomach and pulled it back. His stomach fell out while the rest followed out. He gasped while I went to his head and twisted its side while I pulled his head off. I looked up and saw him running towards me, but I ran towards him and jumped and clamped my jaw on his neck. I clamped all the way down till my teeth touched together. I pulled away from his dead body and shifted while running towards Jenna. I slid on my knees on the dirt and grabbed her head, resting it on my knee. No. You're fine, you're fine. I wiped away her hair while my hand clasped around her neck holding back the blood. You're okay. You're okay. I picked her up and still applied pressure on her wound and carried her and then cradled her against my chest while I sprinted towards Vivaness. You're okay. You're okay. I kicked the door open to the pack house while sprinting down the hall. You're fine, I said while I kicked open his door. He was against the wall with a scalpel, but once he saw me he sighed but grew wide eyes when he saw my arms dripping blood. I ran towards the bed and quickly placed her down. Some other nurses were here, so they rushed over and started to hold their hands on her wound. Vivaness was saying things to them and they nodded. They went to grab gouges and cotton to suck up the blood from the wound. He was trying to sew but blood was gushing out. I shook my head while I held her hand tight. You're okay. You're fine. You're okay. You're fine. You're okay. You're fine. Tears fell down my face while my shaky hands pushed back her hair out of her blood. You're okay. I kissed the back of her hand, kept saying those things because I know she's okay. She's okay. The pillow was soaked with her blood while her neck was a pool of blood. Why is she still bleeding? To my agent extraordinaire, mythical, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. The nurses checked her other wrist and looked over to Vivaness. I looked over to him and his white coat was covered in red. He took a step back while he looked at me with sorrow. I answered no. She's not. She's okay. She's okay. I look over to her while my hand covers her wound. Let me see that, I said while I looked down at her with blurry eyes. No one dares move. Hand me the damn needle and thread. To my agent extraordinaire, mythical, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Vivaness handed me the needle and thread with shaky hands and I went to grab it. You're okay. You're okay. I start to thread her wound back together, and once I'm done I grabbed the blanket and wiped away the leftover blood. Her neck is stained red and the wound looks disgusting. You're fine. I look over to Vivaness with blurry eyes and smile. See, she is fine. He looks at me with the same look. I'm sorry, Alpha. I shake my head. She's fine. She's fine. My thumb goes across her very faint warm cheek. She's fine. My voice cracks. To my agent extraordinaire, mythical, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Our Luna is gone, he says from behind me. Shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. I growled at him. Look. She's breathing. I point to her chest and everyone stares at it. Tears seep out of the nurse's eyes while I clenched my jaw and then licked my lips. I shook my head with tears falling down my face. She's fine. She's fine. My voice cracks while I stare at her chest then back to her face. Her face is lighter than her normal tone and her lips are slightly parted in a faint pink. She's fine. I say while I look back to him. She's fine. I bit my lip while more tears come out. I'm so sorry, Alpha. He clears his throat while he wiped his eyes. She's gone. I growl while I looked back to her chest. It doesn't move, so I take a step closer and place my head in the center of her chest. Nothing. I hear nothing. I lift my head and shake my head. Stop it, Jenna. Don't do that now. I know you like to play games, but please not now. I give her a little smile and suck in a deep breath. I love you too. I love you before, now and forever. I bend down and I peck her cold lips. Come on, let's take you home. I go reach to pick her up, but his hand clamps down my shoulder and pulled me back. To my agent extraordinaire, mythical, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Jenna is gone. She's dead. I growled at him and push him back till he stumbles over his own feet. What I to you, Alpha? She's fine. She's not dead. She's fine. He looks over to the nurses and nod. I look over to them and they give me a sad smile with sorrow in their eyes. She's fine. I roar, but something pricks my arm and I look down and see a syringe in it. I look up and see Vivaness with the same look he had the whole time. I'm sorry, Alpha. He pushes the liquid in my arm and I feel the affect right away. I weakly growl at him and then look back to Jenna. You're okay. I whisper. I grab her hand and kiss the back of it and hold it tight after. You're okay. I love you. I'll see you when you wake up. I then fall into the trap of the dark that crawls behind me. Chapter 55 Alcander. My heart stops while I shake my head. What the hell? I look around and I'm at the open field. Everyone is here. Jenna is here. She's in the same position with Dakota, but she's not moving. He's not moving. No one is moving. I spin around and everyone is like statues. I walk around and walk towards Jenna. Her eyes are open while her mouth is open, but her eyes don't move. I went to grab her, but someone's voice stopped me. That what was going to happen? Her voice is soft, angel-like, and I knew who it was. I heard it before. I turned around and I see her picking up at Dandelion. Moon goddess, I said while I walked towards her. Her bright green eyes looked towards me. Her hair was pulled up nicely in bun with a few strands coming out. Her hair was blonde, almost white. She wore a white summer dress even in the winter weather. I was going to let that happen to your mate since you broke my promise. She twirled it around her fingers while she stared at me. I didn't. You did. You broke it when you first found Jenna. Jenna is the best thing that happened to you. Yet you acted like your father. I may be a goddess of all wolves, but it doesn't mean I don't look after all and watch. I took another step towards her, but not before giving Jenna another look. So that was a vision. Yes, I showed you what was going to happen, but I changed my mind. What did I break? I don't even know what promise I made with you. She smiled and walked towards me. She gripped my hand and pulled me down till we sat on the grass. Remember when you prayed and prayed to see your parents again after their death? I looked down at the grass and stared at my hands. Yes. Well, remember when I granted you that prayer? Yes, but I still don't know what I broke. I looked up and stared at her eyes. She smiled. Alcander, I made a deal with you. I said I don't want you to grow up as your father. You promised me that. You even told me that you'll be equal with women. Yet you broke that when your sister left and didn't put you back in place. You turned dark and sinister, and you even did that to your mate. I was going to make you feel pain from her death. I knew you wouldn't recover from her death. She loves and you love her. Her smile turned to a frown. I have consequences if you ever break a promise from me, and that was going to be mine. I can be dark to Alcander, but today is not the day she dies. Thank you, but she will. But I won't tell you when. I know what will happen when she's gone. But I know your son's mate will help him out like Jenna has with you. It will be a shame that she'll not be able to keep this pack sane when she's gone. But your son's mate will. I promise you that. She stood up, while my heart dropped. What do you mean she won't keep me sane? She'll be here. I got up as she took a step back. She will. But in the future she won't. Goodbye, Alcander. She gave me a small smile, and then snapped her fingers. I blinked while he growled. You're supposed to be mated with me, Jenna. He growled while he pushed his claws deeper in her throat. But then he comes along and ruins everything. You were going to be my Luna, my mate. But no. He marks you, and makes you carry his pup. I looked up to the sky, then back to them. Dakota. He was going to say something, and I saw his nails go deeper, but that's when a tree came out of nowhere and a vine pulled Jenna back and a sharp tree branch stabbed right through his chest. Jenna fell to the floor while I ran towards Ian, who watched his son die right in front of him. Finally, I get to finish what I started. I punched his face when he barely turned towards me and I shifted. I took a hold of his head and twisted violently till I heard cracks and snaps as his head came undone. I dropped his head and howled. I heard my pack follow after. Our howls filled the air and slowly I shifted. I looked over to Dakota and see the branch still through him, but it's on fire now and slowly burning his dead corpse. I walked towards Jenna, who's looking at him with wide eyes. I start to jog, but I started to sprint. She looked at me with her beautiful brown eyes and I saw sadness but happiness at the same time. I reached down for her and picked her up. I held her close while I tucked my head in her neck. Her arms wrapped around me while I hugged her tighter. I pulled back a little, but I didn't let her go. I love you. I give her a smile while her eyes grew wide. I love you so much, Jenna. I licked my lips while I looked up to the sky. I broke something. And it was you and part of something, I promise. I look at her with blurry eyes. I got a second chance, but I know something is going to happen to us. But not for a while. But I love you, and it kills me that I never treated you as my mate in the beginning of our relationship. It kills me that I did that. But you gave me a chance. You gave me a son. You gave me your heart. So I give you mine too. I love you before, now and forever. She smiles while her hands goes to my face. Her thumb wipes away the tears that I didn't know they fell. I lean in more in her touch while my fingers dig slightly into her hips. I love you, Alcander, and I don't know what you're talking about, what's going to happen to us later on. But I trust you'll take care of it. It pulls at my heart, but I don't show it. I'm glad that we have a son. I'm glad that I gave you another chance. And if I could go back in time to change that, I wouldn't. I would want us to be like this right now. Have a son and be happy. I love Alcander. I smile and lean down and kiss her. She smiles in the kiss and I can't help to do the same. I pull back and she rests her head on my chest. I look towards his body and I can't help but imagine what could have happened. I tighten my hold on her, but she doesn't mind. My men are already cleaning up the dead bodies while I see the Wilson opening the ground while they throw the bodies in there. And I see Angelia burning them. I guess my pack is ruthless. I look down at her and see her staring at me. I smile at her and kiss her again. I promise I'll do everything in my power to keep us together longer. I pull away and smile at her. I look up at the sky. Moon goddess. I don't want to be her trite now. My life started to turn around and be happy. Don't ruin this for me. Not now, at least. Chapter 56. Alcander, your mother's going to get you in trouble, you know that. I whispered while I looked behind my shoulder and then back to Voldas. Not if you tell her, Dad. He smiled while showing his baby fangs. You're cleaning this up. Not me. I stood up while he grew wide eyes and jumped up. What? You're the one that missed. He pointed at me. My eyes grew wide while my hand went around his mouth. Any louder, Voldas? I whispered, shout. I looked at his eyes and I saw them turn to amusement. I gave a warning look, but I felt his warm tongue on my palm. My face grew disgust and I pulled my hand back. His laughter filled the room and I sighed. A 4-year-old shouldn't be talking or laughing like you are. I'm an alpha dad, he said while he smiled and then did a baby growl. I couldn't help but laugh at it. Okay. Just because you have my blood doesn't mean you're tough as me. I pushed his tiny shoulder. You can't even growl for your life. I smirked while I sat back down on the floor. "Dad, I can growl," he said while his face went serious as he sat down in front of me. I bit my lip while holding back the laugh. No, son. You can't. Well, at least not yet. Look. He sat on his knees and took a deep breath in and did a tiny growl. See, I growled and I probably scared you. I couldn't help but laugh at this. You got to growl from your gut. I tapped my stomach. Like this. I growled low because I didn't want Jenna coming in. Like that. Like this. He did the same growl again and I smiled. More here. I poked his stomach while he held back his laugh. Like this. He did it again and I smiled, but I did a small growl for him and his eyes grew wide. I acted surprised and his mouth fell open. Did you hear that, Dad? I did it. Did you hear it? He jumped up and his tiny hands cupped my cheeks. Yeah, I didn't think you'll get it. It took me a long time to get it. He smiled and took a step back. It's because I'm me. He tried to wink but he just blinked. I rolled my eyes and was about to say something, but when the door slammed open with my pregnant mate, I jumped up. Alcander. What happened in here? I looked at her while her hands were around her stomach and I looked at her eyes. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. She narrowed her eyes. Oh really? Because I see flour all over the floor. She growled. I felt Valdos go behind my legs and I rolled my eyes. Look. We were making a cake and Valdos spilled the flour. What now? Mom, Dad tried to throw flour in the bowl but he missed and it went on the ground. I did it too. But mine went in. He's lying. He ran towards her and wrapped around her legs. I glared at him and licked my lips. Little rat. I took a breath in and closed my eyes. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. That might have happened. But Alcander. Clean it up. I nodded my head and looked down while I slowly opened my eyes. I ran my hand through my hair and pulled at the end. I saw her feet and then her hand went under my chin and picked it up. I looked into her brown eyes and she looking into my hazel ones. I'm not Mad Alcander. I raised an eyebrow at her and she gave me a small smile. Okay. Maybe I was. But I can't control my moods. Her hands wrapped around my cheeks, while mine go around her waist. Yeah, it's because you're pregnant. I leaned down and went to kiss her but she turned and made me kiss her cheek. One hand went behind my head and pulled me down. I felt her breath on my neck and swallowed back the growl when her breath found my mark. You made me like this. She growled in my ear. I smirked and kissed her neck. Because you didn't say to stop when I told you. I murmured while gently scraped my fang on her mark. She quickly pushed me away while I had a smirk on my face. Stop? She growled. I didn't even do anything. I laughed. She narrowed her eyes at me. You're sleeping with Valdos. And as she walked out, my mouth fell open. I didn't hear her answer and I growled. I heard his tiny laugh. You got in trouble by Mommy. He taunt. I looked at him and growled. Clean this up. I'll be back. And when I'm back it best be clean. I growled and then jogged out of the room. Dad, I heard him say in my ear. I said while I still had my eyes closed and I slightly moved in bed. I slowly peeked open one eye and see him looking at me with bright eyes. What? I asked while I yawned. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He looked at me and then looked behind him to the bathroom where the light was on and the door closed. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I asked, still trying to wake up. She's crying. I felt my eyebrows furrow and I breathed in. I sat up and rubbed my face. Why? I looked at the window and still see it kindled arc outside, and I looked back at Valdos. I don't know. Why is she crying, Dad? I don't know, I was asleep. How'd you know she was crying? I got out of bed and slowly walked to the bathroom. I was going to ask you if you want to play. I looked down at him and see him smiling at me. Valdos, in the middle of the night you wanted to play. I rolled my eyes and placed my ear on the door. I hear her crying and sniffing. Stay here. To my agent extraordinaire, Jenna, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Go lay down on my bed. To my agent extraordinaire, Jenna, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I heard his feet run across the floor and then I heard the bed. I softly knocked and I heard her gasp. You okay? She cleared her throat. Yeah, I know. And then I heard her cry again. I grew worried and then I opened the door. I felt my heart stop and my blood turn cold. Her hands were covered in blood and tears streamed down her face. Blood was on the ground while she cried out louder. Something is wrong, Alcander. Help me, she cried out. I nodded my head and rushed over to her. I quickly picked her up and ran out of the bathroom. Valdas, hurry up. I yelled and rushed out of the room. I heard him follow behind us and out of the house. I ran down the dark streets and towards the pack house. Vivaness. Wake up, damn it. Vivaness. I'm up. What's wrong? It's Jenna. She bleeding. I don't know why. I'm going into the clinic in the pack house. You better be there when I am. I cut off the mind link and ran towards the pack house. She cried in pain and my heart pulled at her sounds. Valdas, hurry. I yelled. I mind trying. He yelled while gasping for air. I sucked a deep breath and stopped. I turned around and caught him before he ran right into me. I carried him and Jenna towards the pack house and kicked down the door. After so many times they fixed it. I'm always the who breaks it. I ran towards the clinic and the lights are already on with a wide-awake Vivaness. I place Valdas on the floor and rush over to the bed and quickly place her on it. She cried out in pain as she gripped my hand. She cried out. Her body shook, with each sob and hiccup she gave and my heart started to unwind from seeing her like this. What's wrong with her? He didn't answer me but lifted her legs up and rested them on the same thing she delivered Valdas. My heart started to pick up and my other hand went above hers that was interlocked with mine. You're okay. I kissed her forehead while tears fell down her cheeks. I looked to Vivaness and see him with blood on his hand and I see blood on the bed. I need you to push. You had a miscarriage and I need you to push right now. My eyes grew wide at the word. What? To my agent extraordinaire, Jenna, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Not now. Jenna, push. And she did. She cried out while I felt Valdas wrap his arms around my legs while I kissed her forehead and told her to keep going. My heart pulled and pulled just thinking about the word. She cried in pain and everything sounded like I was underwater and everything was done. I didn't know what to do but I knew this was the moon goddess. I knew you would hurt me. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode of the story, please give it a like. And don't forget to subscribe to get notifications for updates.